Hello neighbors, it's Brad here at eTrailer, and today we're taking a look at the Inno tire hold platform style bike rack on our 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. This bike rack is an awesome option for anyone that's really looking to take their bike on some serious off-road trails. Maybe not this bike in particular, but this is awesome for your mountain bikes, fat tire bikes, even e-bikes. It does have a weight capacity of 60 pounds, so that's really going to open options to what you're going to be carrying. So as the name implies, tire hold, you're going to see that this style of rack, it's platform starting off, so your bike sits on a platform, which is generally a better hold for your bike without having to worry about swaying or moving around while you're driving. But also, this is a tire hold, which is really, really nice for your full suspensions or honestly any bike. You're not making any contact with the frame, which as a bike rider gives me peace of mind that my bike's going to stay looking good for a long time and not getting scratches on it from my bike rack rather than the trail. So with this, you're going to get a nice solid hold front and back. And also it's really nice because you don't have straps to deal with. So loading your bike on and off is going to be really, really simple. And when you're driving, you're not going to have to worry about your bike not staying attached. So as far as holding on to the tires, I'm going to clarify kind of what I said a little bit earlier with you can run up to a 27.5 semi-fat tire bike, but for the most part, this can carry up to a width of 3-inch tires. So your pretty chunky mountain bike tires shouldn't have a problem, and you can go up to 29 inches. You can see the tire hold itself has a nice little piece here that contours to this road bike's tire, so it's going to hold that in place nice, but it also contours out quite wide, so this will account for anything you need. Now, as far as the diameter of wheel, you can also adjust where this is. So if you're taking a kiddo's bike to the park, teach them how to ride, you can lower this down and go to a smaller tire with no issue. Finding time to ride gets tough sometimes, and I've noticed that once I ride, or maybe before my ride, I have to run some errands, and with that, you have to open up your hatch, and that can be a problem because you're in a parking lot holding onto your bike. The tilting feature on this really helps alleviate that problem, and very simple on this rack and a nice design. You just pull this back, you can see it's red when it's disengaged, so you know if you're safe or not. So with that tilted down, I can now access the trunk here to get whatever tools, drinks, helmets, gloves, whatever you may need for your ride and not have to remove your bike. So our handlebars are 18 inches wide. So if you do have wider handlebars on your mountain bike, this is something you want to take in consideration on your Jeep. So you might measure those and see if those are actually going to work before opening your hatch with your bike installed. So a nice feature that Inno includes with the bike rack is this nice cable lock, and it is heavy duty, and you can loop it around to your locking system. So that's nice to have. One less thing you need to buy to make sure that your bike is secured. So with our cable lock removed, I'm going to show you how to actually remove the bike from the rack. Very simple system. So normally you have a ratcheting style downward on your tire holds. This one's kind of interesting and I really do like it. There's this button here that you'll press. You'll see this track here that locks it into place. So simple push of that button. And you can move this forward and completely out of the way. So we'll do that on the back here as well. And you are ready to go with no clearances while pulling your bike off. Now that we have our bike removed, I want to show you a few measurements on the Grand Cherokee. So from the furthest point on the rear fascia to the furthest point on the bike rack, you're at right at about 20 inches. So sticks out a little bit, but this is a single bike rack, and so you don't have a ton hanging off, which is nice for when you're parking in a garage or backing up next to a wall, whatever it may be, but it is something to take into account. Another important measurement to take into account on your Cherokee is the measurement of ground clearance. So first we're going to check this high point on the rack down to the ground, which is right at about 18 inches. Now from this lowest part here, which sits just about flush with the bottom of the hitch, you're looking at right about 1 foot on the nose. So that's going to be really important when you're going on your off-road trails, or if you're going up an incline or just taking maybe a rougher path to the trail. you don't want to make contact with your rack and damage it. So take that in consideration when hitting those trails. Now, this is kind of where this rack shines and what I'm going to show you here. So you have this handle here, and we have our arms folded down, and you can see it gets pretty compact, nice and tight. Now, also, you're going to see this is a tilting rack upward as well for storage, which is nice and puts it close to the vehicle at about, right about 3 inches on this. No contacts should happen because it is pretty secure. Now, something else that is really nice is it has a little bit of a halfway mark. And that could be important if this isn't the only Jeep in the family and you have a spare tire on the back. This could allow for that extra clearance. Something else that's important is with it in this position, I'm still able to open the hatch. Sometimes with bike racks folded up, you're limited and then you're ended up having to fold them down. Not this one. If you keep it at the 45, you still have all the functionality even when you don't have your bike attached. So even with this folded all the way up, we still have clearance able to close the hatch. And that is really, really nice. And one of those things you don't notice until you need to use it. So with it stowed up, it's out of the way, close to the vehicle, we can still get all the functionality we need. There's also a few features on this that you wouldn't expect to see on bike racks, but are really, really nice touches. So first I'm going to point out here, you have an alignment pin with a safety cable attached, and that's going to align you up to the hole on your hitch. Now also, you're going to see here this adjustable stop. And what that's nice for is once you know that you're going to use this on your vehicle and maybe you take it off occasionally, it's kind of hard sometimes to line that back up. Well, that's going to stop it exactly where it needs to be, making installing your hitch very easy. Now, also you're going to see this knob comes with a locking system, which is also a nice added benefit. And you put your cable lock through there as we saw earlier, but also tool-free removal of the hitch. And that's as simple as unlocking. And you're going to see this hex here has a built-in tool. So with that, this will loosen up the anti-rattle system on it. And what that's going to do, you can see it's already kind of wobbling, but loosen it up and you can take that out. But as you tighten this, it's actually going to tighten in the hitch to make sure that this rack is not going to wobble while driving. Another thing I'll point out is this is able to be used on 1 1/4" hitches, as well as an adapter that goes around it for your 2-inch hitch.
This is our test course. Let's start with the slalom. This shows side-to-side action, such as turning corners or evasive maneuvering. Then, the solid speed bumps. This shows up and down action, such as driving through a parking lot or parking garage, or driving in and out of a driveway. Last of all, onto our alternating speed bumps. This shows twisting action, such as hitting curbs, potholes, road debris, or even uneven pavement.
Overall, this is an awesome bike rack for someone that rides alone and maybe goes to trails that are a little off the beaten path. You get a lot of robust feeling just handling it. Now with that does come, it's a little bit larger and a little heavier than a lot of racks out there, which isn't necessarily a bad thing, but if you're looking for something a little more minimalistic, a little more less large, we do have other options. You could take a look at the Kuat Transfer, which does allow a little more streamlined look without being so large, but still a platform style that's going to hold your bike in place. The features alone, I think, are what really sell me on this. I like the handle being outside. It's easy to grab, it's easy to use. The tilting feature is awesome. You also have locks included. You have the ability to tighten up your anti-rattle. The list goes on, and they've really added a lot of those features to this. So overall, I think this might be a great option if you're looking for a single bike rack on your 2021 Jeep Grand Cherokee. Now let's get to pedaling.